Hello, everybody. Thank you for joining us. Today, we're really excited to have Caroline Soto with us. Hello, Caroline.
Good afternoon, Jennifer. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. For everybody, let me introduce you. Caroline is the International Student and Scholar Advisor and PASE Program Coordinator at the University of Texas at El Paso at UTEP. She's a UTEP alum with experience in the immigration legal field, and she currently assists international students with their F1 status and has also been expanding the PASE program, which we'll be talking more about today. I hope I covered most everything with this intro. Thank you, Caroline, for talking to us. And just for our audience who might have never heard about the PASE program before, could you talk to us a little bit more about it? I know that I've been calling it PASE. It's the acronym for Programa de Asistencia Estudiantil. Could you tell us a little bit more about the program, please?
Of course, and how you mentioned, PASE program stands for the Programa de Asistencia Estudiantil, which indicates that it's an assistance program for students. And so it was first implemented at UTEP in the fall of 1987, and it was a result of the House Bill 2181 being signed into law during the 70th Texas Legislature regular session. And so the intention of the program was to strengthen the ties between the Texas-Mexico border region and to encourage students from Mexico with limited financial resources and to enroll in Texas public institutions of higher education. And by doing this, the PASE program at UTEP provides an out-of-state tuition waiver to students who are eligible to pay for the tuition as a resident of the state.
Wow, that's why we believe it's so important. What was the potential that UTEP saw for the region that made it decide to establish an office to work with this program?
Well, when the House bill was first signed into law, there was 5 institutions that were impacted by the new waiver program, one of them being UTEP. And at the time, UTEP saw the potential of being able to foster a diverse campus environment and have these students who were eligible be able to come to the United States and be able to enrich the learning environment with their cultural perspectives. And in doing that, they're also able to contribute not only to the education, but to the economy and to the El Paso region overall and our well-being. But I think most importantly, UTEP, through this program, has been able to continue with their mission in providing access to an excellent education here. So at that point, it was determined that the PASE program would be implemented at UTEP, and the Office of International Programs and Study Abroad, which was already established at UTEP, would coordinate and oversee the program and then determine the eligibility for students based on their financial need.
You kind of touched a little bit upon my next question. The El Paso region is one of the most dynamic areas along all of the Texas-Mexico border. And in terms of human capital, how has the program been a catalyst to better prepare people for the regional job market?
Right, so the PASE program has provided the ability for thousands of students to be able to enroll at UTEP and obtain an education that really enables them to grow and become global citizens that otherwise they wouldn't have been able to do without this benefit. And so these students that go through this education and engage in enriching experiences, whether it be with other international students, domestic students, the faculty, staff, and even the larger community, they're able to develop these distinct skills that better prepares them for the job market. So, for example, in the 2018-2019 academic year, the National Association of Foreign Student Advisors indicated that the total international population at UTEP alone contributed $65.1 million to the economy and supported over 850 jobs. And so you can see that these students are being able to obtain that education and apply it in the job market. So ultimately, these opportunities wouldn't have been available, or they would have been extremely difficult for students to obtain had it not been for the PASE program.
This is fantastic for the development of human capital in all of the region. And one other point, has this program had a positive impact in enhancing UTEP and El Paso as an international destination along the border? Because sometimes when we speak with people who haven't been, they really don't realize what an international city El Paso is, and usually sometimes they don't believe that that region along the border is so dynamic. We've had the luck of being there, we've experienced it. Do you feel the program has helped in a way?
Oh, absolutely. The program has drawn, like I mentioned, thousands of individuals from Mexico to UTEP and the El Paso region over the years to obtain an excellent education and be able to pay at an in-state rate. And so even at the current moment, over 60% actually of our international student population is comprised of students from Mexico who are currently receiving the PASE benefit. And typically there's less than a 1% denial rate for this program. And so these students are really able to ensure that they're gonna pay that in-state tuition rate. And this makes a huge difference because it's one less stressor for them in being able to obtain that higher education.
This is fantastic. Thank you, Caroline, because this is a great overview of something that's happening along the border. And again, we really believe that you guys have taken a step further in making the region even more dynamic than it already was. Hopefully, this is something that'll be of interest in other places along the Texas-Mexico border. And yeah, hopefully we can all see that there's a potential for all of the border region to be as dynamic as El Paso. Not that the other places aren't, but in terms of human capital, you guys are doing something very unique. And well, thank you for giving us the opportunity to highlight that today.
No, of course, thank you for having me. It was a pleasure.
Thank you, and thank you, everybody.